I'm Sue Stiles, your host with Relo, Hello Relo podcasts. And today I have real estate agent Kaitlyn Gottlieb with us, and she's going to have some good advice for new agents. Kaitlyn's an award-winning realtor. She founded Exclusive Calgary and then co-founded Exclusive Edmonton, one of few realtors I know actually spanning two different cities far away in a province. She works with the Century 21 Bamber brokerage, and she's been licensed for up to 12 years, I think, coming up. She had said her career has spanned the interruptions of marriage, the pandemic, a first child, life, and death. Talk to us, Kaitlyn. How are you today?
I'm really good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really looking forward to this.
Well, I know realtors do reach out to you and ask for your advice all the time. And now you're at a great level in your business. You've built a wonderful brand. But I want to get back to, Kaitlyn, in the beginning, when you first got licensed. I mean, maybe you can just tell us what gave you the idea that you might want to do this as a career?
Yeah, real estate has always interested me. And in large part, it was because I absolutely love marketing. So growing up, being born and raised in Calgary, I was very interested in oil and gas. Back when I was starting to get into real estate, oil and gas was really taking off. And so my original thought was actually to be a landman. And so I was in school for oil and gas, very interested in marketing, but the two weren't really crossing over. I was working at my father's law firm at the time, and he did a lot of real estate. It actually was funny. It was a combination of a few different things. One, I had some health issues that prevented me from being able to go into the oil and gas field as a long-term plan. And so what I did was I went back to Mount Royal. I took some studies in marketing, and, when things really started to line up, I was like, no, I want to do real estate. So I took the real estate course at Mount Royal. I took it along with some more marketing, and the two ended up being a really great marriage and a wonderful career for me.
Yeah, marketing, when you're an entrepreneur, you can really take the reins to that, right? Now, I know you have shared in the past some interesting stories of your first real estate purchases. Maybe you can share those, or one of those at least.
Yeah, for sure. So when I was first looking for a house for myself, I had used an agent that my dad had recommended. He had known lots just through the business and whatnot. But I really didn't know how to advocate for myself. And the truth is, I was so excited about the opportunity of home ownership, to, live on my own, to get all of that started, that I overlooked a lot of really important aspects. And I think that really brought me back to why I wanted to be an agent in the first place, because a lot of people that go into the business talk about wanting to help people. But there's different levels of that. So I'll give you an example. The first condo that I bought, I walked into it and I fell in love. I was so excited. I had these ideas. Me and my puppy Lexi were going to have our first place. Everything about it was perfect. It was walking distance to restaurants I loved, a wine bar I loved, everything. What I didn't realize until literally the day I moved in, my mom came to take a look, and it was a 1-bedroom with a little den. It was perfect. And she said, well, where are the closets? I said, what do you mean, Mom? Because, being a female in her early 20s, I took a look around. There was not one closet in the entire thing. So there were 2 small bedrooms, no closets, and, certain things that you don't see when you're getting excited. And then, so, a year later, someone wanted to buy the entire building. So luckily I was able to get out of there unscathed and a little better, went to buy my second place, and didn't realize till I moved in that my SUV did not fit in the parkade. So, it's these little things that you just need someone to say, okay, hey, but let's check this. And, let me remind you of that. And did you think about this and that? So, a few of my own real estate blunders, but that's okay.
Oh my goodness. Can you imagine bringing all your clothes in and having no closet for them? I think, those initial circumstances make some of the best realtors when they see or have experienced how things went wrong or didn't meet expectations. And it almost makes you advocate more for your clients because you have this sensitivity to that. Well, tell me, when did you get licensed? What year was that?
Okay, so this will be my 12th year. So yeah, I don't even
Okay.
remember exactly what year it will be. I did 1 year at a bigger brokerage, and then I've spent my last 11 years with Century 21 Bamber.
Wow.
Yeah.
And were the classes still in person? You said you went to Mount Royal College, so you got to go to class.
Yes, I did my
And
classes in person.
yeah, because they're all online, nowadays. But even when you went to class, tell me how did you feel when you came out? Like, did you feel prepared to help people buy and sell houses? How was your feeling as a new agent?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, I think that the courses can be great, but what I realized almost immediately is real estate truly is a practical career. You need to actually have that experience. I feel like the majority of my knowledge and what I've learned in real estate really is from being in it. It was a little bit difficult for me coming out of real estate school because, what you learn in the books is a lot different than practical application. So I really felt there was a bit of a disconnect there. The industry has changed a lot since I've been in the industry. I think there's a lot more opportunity these days for teams, for mentorships, for one-on-one, which I really wish I had back then. But yeah, I mean, when I first came out of real estate school, I really didn't feel prepared to be able to offer what I can offer now.
Yeah, it takes that time to get the wheels turning. But
It
so
does.
as you're thinking about that, if you could go back and talk to yourself, once you got your license in your hand, maybe share some advice. What would you tell yourself when you were a new agent?
Sure. So, I mean, the number one thing I think I would share is to get a mentor. There's absolutely nothing wrong with, asking for advice, asking those questions, having someone that you can trust, that you can look up to, that you can go to with these things. You're not expected as a new agent to know it all. That's just not possible. But there's some really great teams that, will take new agents through and really teach them the ropes. One thing I really wish that I knew as a new agent is that when you first get out of real estate school, your friends and family may not use you. And, I know that sounds funny because we
Mm,
all think like, of course they're going to support us and like they want, and I really believe they do want to support you. But I think that as a new agent, your friends and family know you as the person you were before you got your license. They don't quite know you yet as a realtor. And so it takes some time to get that experience. And I think that's okay. But if you're working on a team or have a great mentor that can back you up, take you through the steps, that'll come. But, you'll find some absolutely incredible clients that start out as strangers. So I think, having your close network is really important. But being able to put yourself out there and broaden that is just so important. It's invaluable.
that's such good advice. I bet people don't think of that it's possible that your friends and family won't use you in the beginning for various reasons. And also, even when you've been a realtor for a while, when friends or family do hire you, I always remember to recommend to agents, like, put on your real estate hat.
Yes. I
Don't
mean,
be so casual. Yeah, go ahead and speak to that.
no, I think that's really important. It's like, when your friends and family do use you, prove yourself, like show them what a professional you are, do your absolute best job. If you're sitting down and doing a market evaluation, I always stray away from keeping it too casual. Everybody's different, but I opt, to not do it over a glass of wine. I'll do it over a coffee. Like I still come dressed up in my, my blazer, my everything. I want to show them the best. I really want to showcase like, thank you for supporting me. And now I'm going to do the best job I possibly can so that you didn't use me because you love me. You use me because I'm good at what I do. And I want to showcase that to you.
Yeah, that's how people want to feel afterwards. So what else? If you could go back and talk to yourself when you were a new agent, what other advice would you give yourself?
I would say do the hard work. So I really believe in, doing a lot of the things that feel uncomfortable. I would allow myself to go out of my comfort zone. A lot of times now, I think we've become so reliant on technology and sitting behind a camera, behind an Instagram, that it can be quite intimidating to go and knock on someone's door and ask for it. Even circling back to the friends and family, I think a part of that I missed that I really wanted to touch on is, your friends and family do want to support you and help you, but maybe rather than asking for their business, you could ask them for a referral. Could you help me by letting me know if you hear of someone looking to buy or sell? Could you put my name out there? Would you, say my name in a room full of people that you admire? Those type of things. But I think that going in with proper expectations, some people I often hear say, I'm going to go into real estate, I get to make my own schedule. Yes and no. I mean, I think that it takes time to build up your career and your credibility. And oftentimes you work around your client schedules. And I think that's totally okay. But putting in the hard work, sitting open houses for other agents, doing door knocking. If you know that a client wants to live in a certain area, get to know that area, get to know the community, become a person that people go to. If you know that someone's looking for, some sort of contractor and you have a great contact, be the first person to share that. I think all of those things are really important.
Coming from a marketing background and an interest in marketing, it's really thank you for being so open and honest, because I think a lot of people want to do that social media marketing too, and maybe
Yes.
even emulate. I know a lot of realtors, a lot of people follow you, and see wonderful posts and wonderful social media. But I think what I'm hearing you say is, of course, there's a time for that, but you have to do the legwork. You actually have to make the phone calls and shake hands. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's exactly right. And, social media has become so prevalent. And I think it's a wonderful tool, but I think it's one of many, many tools. And, I can say social media can be wonderful. And I love marketing. I love the beautiful photos. I love to showcase people's homes in their best light. I love my clients to feel proud of what I put out there because they've worked so hard on their homes. So that's part of it. But by nature, I'm actually much more of an introverted person. So I often struggle with social media. Where's the line between putting yourself out there as a professional, being vulnerable so people recognize that like you are a person and you still have the struggles, and then doing a best job for your clients. And I think for everybody that looks different. But if social media is not your thing as a new agent, that's okay. And if it is, utilize it. I think it's a great tool, but it's really one of many. It's not all of them.
Yeah, good thing for people to hear. And what about the other practical things like every time you list a property or every time you take a buyer as a client, all those systematic things. I know you have mentioned, you don't always have to reinvent the wheel, but how do you come up with your own systems and processes?
Yeah. Okay. So that's a really good question because often with new agents, we all hear, I want to do real estate different. We're going to change it. And I think what I learned is that you don't need to reinvent the wheel. I think it's really important. And in fact, I think it's really healthy to have people that you look up to. When I came into the industry, there was a ton of realtors that, I looked up to, I admire, and I still do today. I can think of a handful in Calgary and Edmonton. I absolutely love to work with them. They're my colleagues, but they also were a bit of my inspiration. So, what I'd say to new agents is, I think that a lot of times we hear that imitation is a form of flattery. And I agree. I think you can look to people that you look up to for inspiration, but it's really important to make it your own. There's a fine line between taking something that somebody else has done and making it yours or using them as, inspiring. And I think that all of us have something different to offer, but following along and seeing, okay, what made that realtor successful? How does she get her clients? What makes her listing presentation stand out? Each agent is going to have their own recipe for success. And I think taking a really close look, asking them for help. Hey, can I take you for lunch? Can I take you for coffee? Sometimes we have agents that reach out on Instagram, and it's very flattering when somebody thinks that you're worthy of asking those questions to. But what I would say is, make it a little more personal. I'm going to be much more open to, having a conversation that someone, with somebody that gives me a phone call than maybe sends a message. And for me as a new agent, I always tried to be very respectful of these bigger agents' time. Because I really looked up to them, but I knew they were busy. So I knew if, they were going to give me some time, I wanted to really value that. And, people were really kind to me in the industry. And so I always try and lead with that now because we've all been brand new.
Yeah, true. I think that's interesting to hear you talk about reaching out to, I guess, your competition, but you don't seem to take a view like that, a lack or, a not enough view. You seem to take there's enough for everybody and a respectful view.
I really do believe that. I believe there is enough business to go around. I really do. And I think that the more you can look at your colleagues in a collaborative way over competition, like I really do view agents in my area and female agents, especially, like these are my colleagues. These aren't my competition. I look up to them. I love working with them. I just think that's so important. And really, the relationships that you build, I truly believe are what is going to give you longevity within your career. The shoe is always going to be on the other foot. I think it is so important to remember that no matter what side of a transaction that you're on, the way that you treat people, it doesn't matter if you're in year 1, year 10, year 20. We all deserve respect and we all remember how we were treated. So I don't think there's a hierarchy of, okay, well, I've been in the business 10 years, so I'm going to run this deal. Like, no, one blink ago was the person, coming in my first deal, nervous, young, everything. But the better you treat people, I really believe that comes back to you. And, there's some phenomenal agents, here in Alberta, in Calgary, in Edmonton. Yeah, I mean, there's inspiration everywhere.
I when I hear you talk like that, I hear something that you've said to me before about having confidence and humility, that
Yeah.
there's this partnership between you're strong and you're confident and you know what you know, but you're also humble enough to respect other people. And you're very right, people, realtors, any sales profession for sure. It's like you build your reputation behind closed doors. It's what people are saying about you behind closed doors that builds your reputation. So being conscious of that right from being a new agent, what a gift.
Yeah, I mean, I think that humility takes you a long way, both with your colleagues and with your clients. I think that if there's something that you don't know, it's okay to go out and learn it. And something that I absolutely love about the real estate industry is that it is constantly evolving. There's always something new to learn. And I love those challenges. I love that there's education. I don't think I'll ever be at a place in my career that I don't have something to learn. I don't think I'll ever feel like there aren't agents that I can be learning from. And, I am very flattered when someone feels like there's an opportunity to learn from me. I think that's, one of the best parts of this industry.
Yeah, being open and learning. Now, you touched on it before around work is at on your client's schedule, but how have you managed to navigate the important parts of life and death and running a business? Because I mean, it's you, right? I mean, your business is you. It's not like the corporation is going to take over because you have to go on maternity leave. How have you navigated that? Not that has it worked perfectly? I don't know. Maybe you have some advice to share for others.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's never going to run perfectly. We all just do our best. I've had, some ups, I've had some downs. Even with social media is a perfect example. Sometimes not sometimes, we all are going to go through things in life that are going to be difficult. And so for me, in times that I've had to go through some really tough things privately, I've chosen to take a step back from social media. And, there's companies out there that can help you with your social media platform. You can, plan posts ahead of time to do all those type of things for you. So I think that there's a real need for work-life balance. And I think that in real estate in particular, that's a very, very hard balance to find. If I could tell myself or give myself advice maybe 10 years ago, it would be to have better boundaries. Because what I've learned over time that I didn't realize in the beginning is you don't necessarily have to be in this hustle mentality to make it. Whereas, when I got in the business, I was working 24/7, 7 days a week. I said no to nothing. Like, I missed a lot of dinners, a lot of important conversations, a lot of events I wanted to be at because I thought if I didn't do that, I might not make it. But I realize now if I set certain boundaries, even if it might be, not letting your clients know I'm available 24/7, maybe you're not available at 7 o'clock because you want to put, I want to put my daughter to bed and I want to wake up and have breakfast with her. But clients respect that. And you do work around their schedule, but I don't mind that. That's part of the business. But I think, the same respect that you give your clients, you also want to give your family and you also want to give yourself because it is easy to burn out. I know myself, I pushed through things at work that I probably shouldn't have. And I wouldn't give, a friend in the industry the advice to do that. It's kind of, you know, I don't, it's
So
tough.
much.
It is a
Yeah.
lot, but, on the same hand, it's so rewarding. There are so many beautiful things about this industry. And I think that going back to developing relationships with other agents really can give you a camaraderie of not feeling like it's so lone wolf. And that's a really tough part of this business. But if you build those relationships, grabbing a coffee, grabbing a lunch, carving out time to make sure that you're talking to people that, they're in it with you. Oh, it can take you through so much.
Yeah, I love that piece of advice. I hope everyone listening is hearing that. Don't isolate yourself. And I know over the pandemic, I heard from so many real estate agents all across North America who were pushed beyond their level, who
Mhm.
were so busy and they kept thinking, oh, tomorrow it's going to ease off. Tomorrow it's going to ease off. And it didn't, for a year. And they overdid it. And
Yeah.
that's the time you really need your colleagues to gather around you. And I would encourage new realtors now, especially if you're taking the course and they're all online, to find a way to meet with other new realtors, experienced agents, and build up a little bit of that collaboration and team, I guess, team, even though it's entrepreneurial.
Yeah. And you don't even if the team, format doesn't necessarily work for you, that's okay. There's lots of groups. There's, realtor mastermind groups you can do. There's lunches. There's lots of things. Like for me, when I didn't know anyone in the industry, I didn't always want to just call on agents and ask for something without being able to give something in return because I just wasn't necessarily comfortable with that. So I was often offering to sit their open houses, to do all those different things, deliver some flyers, anything. And then, in turn, I got some really, really great advice from them.
Mm.
But yeah, I think it's important. Put yourself out there, grab one or two colleagues. And, it kind of brings me back. I don't know if they still do this or not, but what I did hear from other agents, and I experienced this as well, was that in one of the classes or your sort of final class when you're in real estate, they would say to people, okay, look around the classroom. 5 years from now, only 2 or 3 of you will still be in the industry. And that really struck me. I thought, I don't know, that never sat well with me and it never left me. I thought, why not say, like, look around. these are the people you're going to be working with. These are the people that are going to be your friends. These are the people that you need to uplift when the market shifts, when the market goes down, when you're having a hard time. Like, get a few of these people's number, help them, follow them on social media. You know, I think that if there was a little more of a collaborative approach, we would have agents that are in the industry for longer than 5 years. That fear mentality, I think, needs to go away, and just say, hey, she's just like you.
Yeah. Hey, at any agent's orientation, when you go to your board, if you're walking through with a group, or if there's a group, take Kaitlyn's advice and look around the room yourself and get people's numbers and make those relationships.
Yeah.
You mentioned something about sitting open houses, and I was wondering, every new agent wants to get their first client, their first deals. They want to build relationships outside, and you've done a really good job, a unique job, I think, with building relationships with builders. Maybe you can just share a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah. I like to consider myself quite tenacious, and I I kept getting a lot of no's. I was too early in the industry. I was 25 years old, female. I just didn't have the experience under me, but I really knew what I wanted. And what I really wanted was to represent a builder that I really loved. I had always looked up to that. I love show homes, I love new homes, all of that. And so I started by, emailing, cold calling. It was getting me nowhere. The relationships were built. And I was always very conscious to not try and go after builders that already had representation. I think that's really important. I mean, there's all different ways to go about it. But for me, I wanted good relationships with the realtors I looked up to. So what I started doing was, I'd get no, 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 until I'd say, like, okay, well, what do you not want to do? Let me do that. Okay, you have a new listing, then I will go deliver the flyers. I mean, I was sitting open houses for people that weren't even at my brokerage. It just didn't matter. I just wanted the opportunity to be in beautiful houses and get in front of clientele that weren't necessarily coming to me first. And it did end up working out really well. Like, one of the first builders that I worked with, who I ended up working with for a long time and absolutely loved, he was self-represented. So he was a self-represented builder, was not looking for representation. And so I started by open housing and just said, hey, can you please let me open house for you? Let me find you a buyer for this house. So I wasn't looking for anything on the seller side. I wasn't looking for the listing. I just wanted the opportunity to prove myself. And I open housed that until I found a buyer. And then I asked for nothing more except for to do it. And then I asked for the opportunity to sit another one. And so eventually you do build a relationship. And he became one of my best builders. And, through some of the really strong years in Calgary, it was wonderful because I was able to, have some pride around representing someone that I really aspired to in the beginning, and then was able to offer him really, really good service in the end. And, it's a relationship I still really cherish.
And that takes the time.
It takes time.
If you're hearing anything, you're hearing Kaitlyn's passion and what she's willing to do to get the job done. And so I hope that encourages everybody. Thank you so much for just sharing your heart and how you've done business over the past 12 years and how you'll continue to do it. Where can people find you if they're wanting to look you up? What's your website, and you're on Instagram? Maybe you just share a little bit of your contact info.
Sure. Yeah. So our website right now is my team website. So it's www.exclusiveedmonton.com. You can find me on LinkedIn and, of course, on social media. So on Instagram, I'm just at Kaitlyn.Gottlieb. And I'd love to chat with new agents. If you have questions, please find me, DM me there, or honestly, look me up, give me a call. I'm happy to help. People were so generous with me when I got in the industry that, I'd love to have a chat.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll talk to you next time. Kaitlyn, have a great rest of your day. We'll see you online.
Thanks, Sue.